Hello everyone, welcome to Colette's Vegan and Gluten-Free. Bienvenidos, buenos dias, gracias por acompañarme. My name is Chef Colette. I am actually the owner of Colette's Mini Donut Cakes. We are Austin based, but I'm one of those Californians who moved there many years ago and made it my new home. I also am the author of Never Go Hungry Again. These recipes that I make and what we're gonna be making today were born out of the idea that I finally found out why I was always feeling sick. I have a ton of food allergies. So what happened? Well, of course, when I found out, I had no idea how to feed myself because there was really nothing out there on the market. Everything out there on the market did not taste good and it just wasn't worth eating. So I had to teach myself how to feed myself. Everything that I make was born out of recipes that I researched and then found ingredients that were gluten-free mainly, and I happen to be a vegetarian, and when you make something for the general public, it's just better to make them vegan because that just cuts out a lot of the allergy stuff that's out there. Eggs, soy, nightshades, dairy. Yes, so what we are going to be making today actually is vegan, gluten-free, and being a mother, of course, low sugar. Nobody should be eating a lot of cane sugar today. So what you'll find today in our recipe that's low sugar, vegan, and gluten-free, we're not actually going to be using a lot of sugar. The first ingredient that we're making is our quote, sugar. There's not cane sugar in here. We're going to be making cinnamon buns, but the sugar inside is applesauce. Wait, what? Applesauce? Okay, yes, you can substitute cane sugar for applesauce, bananas, agave, honey, maple syrup. Those are all so much healthier for you. They don't raise your sugar levels so much. I actually have diabetics who eat my Colette's Mini Donut Cakes. Yes, these Colette's Mini Donut Cakes actually sell for seniors, adults, children. Children crave them. And I have 8 different flavors and we do ship outside of Austin. So if you really do want to try these, you can. Hello everyone, welcome back. All right, for all of you sugar people out there, we're gonna be making your sugar substitute. I already cut up some of the apples for us and I started cooking them a little bit, so you'll see a little bit of that steam. But we're gonna cut up 1 apple together. All right, oh, and what are these cores doing here? Well, being an Austin person and a Californian, I'm very, very big on compost. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep these and I'm gonna put these in a compost bin later. If you didn't know what compost was, anything that comes from nature can go back into nature. As humans, we're taking a lot of soil out. We're covering it up with cement. So we need to make more soil. We need soil. Soil is the skin of our earth. So yes, we're gonna keep these for later. We're gonna cut up 1 here. All right, when we cut, we always need to make sure that our knife, we hold it like this, and that we don't cut off our thumb. Yes, little people, you wanna keep your thumbs. You don't wanna go to the hospital just because you had a kitchen accident. All right, there we go. There's that core again that we'll put back into compost. All right, we're gonna cut these, we're gonna mince these up. Notice how my fingers are not touching the knife. If you cut this part of your thumb, that's okay, but you don't want to cut off your finger. That wouldn't be very fun. Okay, so to make our applesauce, we are cutting up 4 medium-sized apples. Then we are going to put in cinnamon and water. That's it. When you go to the grocery store, you'll notice that you can buy applesauce sweetened or unsweetened. I always buy the unsweetened ones because if you buy the sweetened ones, there's added cane sugar to them, and that's not healthy, especially for our little ones who shouldn't have any sugar. Sugar is just, it's one of those things that it's not healthy for you, and it gives our children an artificial high. So I always recommend buying the unsweetened applesauce version or just making your own. All right, here we go. So how many types of apples are there? Oh my gosh, I can't even remember. But I know that there is approximately 4,000 apples out there. Can you name one? Well, I know my favorite one is a Fuji apple because it's super sweet. All right, let's get this in here. Then, and I already have my water in here. So we have water, apple, and cinnamon. All of the ingredients will be on my blog, and you can copy this recipe. And if you have any questions, remember, you can always reach out to me on my website at eventsbycolette.com, or as you know, my product, Colette's Mini Donut Cakes. So it'll just go directly to you. A lot of my recipes are in here too, my cookbook. This one is not, it's actually on my blog, but that's okay. All right, so what's this? Is this the same as this? Yes, it is. Did you know that cinnamon actually comes from the cinnamon, the bark of the cinnamon tree, mostly in Sri Lanka? So if I grated this, would it turn into this? Yes, it would. Wow, that's so cool. Que chévere. Canela. All right, a ver. Well, we're gonna put this into here. Ta-da! We're gonna put it on our stove over here on medium, and we're going to cook it for about 15 to 20 minutes. Just let it sit, and then we're going to have a mashing party. Yes, the most fun thing of all. All right, so you see I stirred it a little bit. Looks like brown water. That's just the cinnamon. Remember, it's okay. It's okay to enjoy it. All right, well, while that's cooking, we're going to make a vegan egg. What in the world is a vegan egg? Well, it doesn't come from an animal because it's vegan. So, all right, well, I'll give you a hint. This is flaxseed meal. You can make a vegan egg mostly from any ingredient, but today we're going to be using flaxseed meal. I usually use flaxseed meal or chia seeds. It's just water and flaxseed meal. That's it. How crazy. All right, so remind you, when we are baking vegan, we do not use any animal products. So we're never going to be using an animal egg. All right. All right. So we're going to add 6 teaspoons. We're making two vegan eggs here. So I have 2 teaspoons de linaza, 2 cucharas de linaza. We're going to add 6 cucharas, 6 tablespoons of water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so you're still telling yourself, this does not look like an egg, right? I know, it doesn't. Give it some time. It will eventually look like an egg. It's not gonna look yellow or white, but it's gonna have the texture of an egg. Did you know that eggs are actually the quote glue of when we bake? So this is gonna be our glue. Especially when it comes to gluten-free baking, we need a lot of glue because gluten actually is a binder. It's a glue for when we bake, and gluten-free doesn't have that binder, have that protein that we need when we bake. All right, so we're gonna set this aside and let it kind of glue to itself. Then next, we're gonna make the batter after we come right back. Hello everyone, welcome back. Did you know a fun little fact that I have for you? So, the recipe that we're making today, cinnamon buns or cinnamon rolls, you can use them interchangeably depending on which country you are. Cinnamon rolls are actually used more in the US, but cinnamon buns are actually used more when you go to Europe, places like Scandinavia. In Sweden, the average person eats about 200 of these a year. They actually also have a day, October 4, where they celebrate this item. Amazing. And we're bringing this to you in the fall here in the US. All right, so let's get back to the food now. Sorry for our little history lesson there. So you're gonna see, wow, this actually does look more like applesauce now. It doesn't just look like chopped up apples. Yes, so you're gonna see the steam here. That means we need to let it cool down before we start smashing, which is, if you can get your child in the kitchen with you, this is one of their most favorite activities. They're just gonna smash and smash and smash. My son was in the kitchen with me when he was 1 year old. You can get your child to cook and they have a blast and they learn how to appreciate food and they'll try new foods. Taking them out to dinner is a lot easier, and getting them to try to eat healthier foods is a lot easier if they can cook with you. All right, so while we're waiting for that to cook, or we're waiting for this to cool down before we start smashing, we are going to make our dry batter. So if you don't know anything about baking, you do need to make your dry ingredients first, mix those first, and then add your wet ingredients. So first, we're gonna do our wet ingredients. Why do we need to make sure that all the dry ingredients get mixed in first? Well, for example, we're gonna be adding cinnamon to the dry ingredients. We don't want just all one part of the recipe to have all the cinnamon, right? All right, so you need to incorporate and mix them all together first. All right, so today we're gonna be using regular all-purpose Bob's Red Mill gluten-free flour. We're gonna be using coconut flour, almond flour, and yucca flour. What is yucca flour? Well, it's technically tapioca flour, but it comes from the yucca plant, which is kind of a potato, and it's very popular in continents like in Africa and the continent of South America and Central America. They eat a lot of yucca instead of potato. Yes. Places in Africa actually eat so much yucca that there was an experiment that was done to try to get more people to have vitamin A in their diet. So they created a product that was an orange yucca, because if you know anything about orange food, basically any food that, any vegetable that is orange, and some fruits like cantaloupe, and your sweet potato and your mango, they all have high vitamin A. Oh, and carrots too. All high in vitamin A, and we need those for our eyes. If we don't have enough vitamin A and omega-3s are like your flaxseed, your chia, and your fish, or anything that comes from the ocean. We need those for our eyes. Our eyes cannot function, and our brains can't function if we don't have enough omega-3s and vitamin A. All right, back to the batter. So we have our 4 types of flour. We have our salt. Salt is so important for us. Did you know that water and salt, we need those as 2 ingredients in our body to actually function? Yes. If you don't eat salt, if you don't drink water, your body can't function. All right, cinnamon. We're using more cinnamon. Yes. Remember, where does cinnamon come from? The tree trunk of the cinnamon tree. It's actually really fun. If you want to do this at home, take like a cheese grater and grate the cinnamon stick. You'll see that, yes, it grinds up into cinnamon. It's kind of crazy. All right, our last ingredient. What in the world is this tiny little thing right here? I only need a little bit of it. Remember how I told you before, gluten-free baking needs glue. We're not gonna put in glue, right? Because we can't eat glue. But we need something called gum. Today we're going to be using xanthan gum, and there's agar gum also. Today we're going to be using xanthan gum. Xanthan gum and guar gum, a lot of people think that they're bad for you. They're not really that bad for you. They come from a plant. We do need them in gluten-free baking. You don't have to use them, but it just makes it a little bit easier. They're not so bad for you. There's been a lot of bad publicity about them, and it's just, if you use them every once in a while, it's fine. Just like everything, my mother always says, she was a registered dietitian when she was in her working age. And she always says, everything in moderation, unless you're allergic to it. Like me, I'm allergic to so many things. Remember, that's how I became a chef here. All right, so as you see, I've been incorporating all the dry ingredients. And you don't see one ingredient or another because they're all mixed in together. Oh, one other thing we forgot, our flaxseed. Remember our omega-3s. You can substitute a certain amount of your flour for flaxseed, because remember, it does look like flour and it will act like a glue also. Because remember, what did we make our vegan egg out of? We made it out of flaxseed meal. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. All right. Next, we are going to make our wet part. All right, how is our applesauce doing here? Well, it looks like there's still a bit of steam, so let's go ahead and make the wet part first while this is still cooling down. Okay, so here we have oat milk. Oat milk. All right, well, yes, remember, we're cooking vegan. We're not using any animal products here. But so I can replace dairy milk for any plant milk? Yes, you can. You can use them one-to-one. There's so many types of plant milks out there. Oat milk, flaxseed milk, oh gosh, chia milk, hemp milk, almond milk, soy milk. A lot of people have soy allergies, so be careful when you use soy because it can be touchy. Like for me, I can't have soy. But today we're going to be using oat milk. We have our yeast. There are some people out there with yeast allergies too. I do have a very dear friend of mine who has a yeast allergy, so she can't have her glass of wine anymore. But today we're going to be using yeast. Sometimes you don't have to use yeast, but when you do want to have a product that you want to rise, gluten-free products don't rise very much, but we're going to try to get this baked good to rise as much as we can. So we're going to use our yeast. All right, so our butter, our plant milk, our yeast, and when it's done, we will put our applesauce in here. We're gonna put all of these in here. All right, ready, go. Ta-da, whoa. And you're asking yourself, how did Colette suddenly get butter that's melted? Well, I cheated and I put it in the microwave, but you can't put it on the stovetop. If you don't have a microwave, you can put it on the stovetop. And I always say you don't wanna burn your butter. So put it on for maybe 20 seconds at a time until it is fully melted. One fun fact that I always like to ask people, what foods can you play with when it comes to hot and cold? Butter is one of them. Chocolate's one of them. Coconut oil and milk are actually one of them too. Coconut products, like coconut oil, for example, the magic number is 76. At 76 degrees, it will either freeze or solidify, or it will start melting. So that's kind of a fun project you can do, which we do in Austin when it's really hot outside. You can put something on the road when it's 100 degrees outside, and you can see if it'll actually melt. And if it does, well, then that's that one product that you know that you can play around with. Okay, so we're gonna put our yeast in here. Okay, with yeast, you wanna be very careful because it is alive. We wanna make sure that we stir it up, but not too much. Okay, so we're just gonna lightly incorporate it. We don't wanna kill it. Okay. Once this is incorporated, then we are going to start mashing. All right, all my little chefs out there, this is your homework. I need you to grab an avocado. I want you to have your mom or your dad or your nanny help you open it up and start mashing. Yes, and you know avocado is actually really healthy for you. It is a product that you can use to practice to become a little chef. All right, so let's mash here. Remember, this is our sugar. You don't see any sugar in my batter here. Remember, sugar is not healthy for us, but we love it, right? Yes, we all love sugar. Sugar is so yummy. So we need to use sugar substitutes, like applesauce. And you'll see that we're using another sugar substitute also. Okay, now let's combine these. Ooh. Okay. So, fun little fact out there, depending on how old you are. Does anyone remember that mall store called Cinnabon? That mall restaurant called Cinnabon? Yes, so the first time I actually invented this recipe, when my husband tried them, he's kind of my guinea pig, and my son Reese is my guinea pig also. My husband said, oh my gosh, I haven't had a cinnamon bun since Cinnabon when I was little hanging out in the mall. So yes, I know, I am aging myself there, but those Cinnabons, it were so good, but they also are really high in sugar, really high in gluten. So this is the healthier alternative. When you eat treats, you don't have to stock up on sugar. You don't have to stock up on gluten. It can be healthy and allergy friendly. All right, let's incorporate these together. Get all of that yummy goodness here. Okay, let's see. Ooh, you're thinking to yourself, this looks too dry. Did we not add enough wet ingredients? Well, like I always say, the ugliest and the messiest recipes are the most delicious ones. So yes, we're gonna have to get our hands dirty. We're gonna have to get our hands dirty to knead everything together because it is not going to incorporate fully like we want it to. Okay. And like with any baking ingredients, we do need to let this sit for an hour so it can solidify and become more easy to work with. If you don't have time for it to sit, you can put it in the refrigerator. The refrigerator will help solidify it and harden it and make it more easy to work with. Hello everyone, welcome back. Now that we have our consistency, we've combined all the wet and the dry ingredients, we're going to roll it out. We have a silicone pad here, but just in case I added a little bit of flour so it doesn't stick to the actual pad. Rolling pins also. Rolling pins, I'm not a huge fan of these, but you have to use them sometimes. And a lot of people just like to put flour on rolling pins so it doesn't stick to the rolling pin. I prefer parchment paper. So I cut up some parchment paper and I'm gonna roll it out here. Ooh, look at that. Yes, all right. So we're gonna roll this out and then we're going to let it proof. So I'm rolling this out. I'm not gonna bore you with this because yes, it's kind of a process. With this particular recipe though, before we cut for break, I am going to roll this out so it's about 1/4 of an inch to 1/8 of an inch thick. And then we're gonna fill it in with all the yummy stuff. All right, we'll catch you when I come back. Hello everyone, welcome back. All right, now we have rolled out our masterpiece. Well, not quite a masterpiece yet. We still have to add the yummy filling. All right, so remember the applesauce that we made earlier? We put it in here with more butter, yes, and the canela, the cinnamon. I forgot to actually mention earlier, you remember we're making a vegan dish here. The butter usually comes from cows, but today we're using vegan butter. And vegan butter, you can use it 1 for 1, just like plant milk and cow milk. Yeah, there's a lot of brands out there. I prefer the Miyoko's brand because it is soy free, but there's tons of brands out there. You just pick which one you like. And okay, let's go. So we're gonna brush this on. We're not gonna use a spoon. I prefer a brush because it just goes on easier. We're just gonna do a little bit at a time. Ooh, look at that. Yummy, 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 yummy. And we want to try to use all of it because that's the yummy part, right? Okay, brushing it on, brushing it on. So while I brush this, let's go to a commercial because this is going to take me a little bit of a time. But yeah, I don't want to bore you with all this. So let's go back to another commercial. And when I come back, I'll have this all brushed on for you. All right, let's do the fun part. Well, there's so many fun parts in this, but here's one more fun part. We're gonna roll. We're gonna gently roll. I know. Oh my goodness, this makes me so nervous. And you're gonna think, oh my gosh, this is so stressful. But it's okay because the dough is not even. And whenever you make something like this, especially when you're learning at home how to cook, it's a process. And the best mistakes can actually be the best products. Let's see here. Oh, wow, look at how thick that is. That's amazing. We're rolling up all of the cinnamon and the quote sugar. Remember, what's the sugar we have in here? Applesauce and butter. Everyone loves butter. But vegan butter actually tastes just like regular butter. Vegan butter is healthier for you than margarine. I know a lot of you are thinking, well, margarine, that's like a vegan butter. Yes, it is, but it's made with all that canola oil, and canola oil is not necessarily great for you. So, all right, let's see here. We've got this almost rolled up. See how we have, it almost looks like an Aram sandwich. Okay, now what? Take our trusty butter knife and we're just gonna chop it. Hi-ya! 1, 2. Ooh, look at that. I know, it doesn't look very pretty, but remember, when we bake, how do we hide non-pretty things? We put things on top. We're gonna put a glaze on top. We're actually gonna put what we call an egg wash, but in vegan terms, an egg wash, we're not gonna use egg, we're going to use honey today. You can use our maple syrup for a vegan egg wash. So we're gonna put on a vegan egg wash, and then we're going to proof it. And then when we're gonna put it back in the oven, we're gonna put it in the oven. We're not gonna put it back in the oven. We never put it in the oven. What am I talking about? We're gonna put it in the oven. Then we're gonna take it out, let it cool for a little bit, put on our yummy glaze, and enjoy. So I'm gonna put this on my butter tray. So you can use oil or butter. Remember, it has to be vegan. I already sprayed it for you just to make it easier. But yes, I went ahead and used cooking oil today because it's just easier that way. Let's make this one a little bit prettier here. All right. Doot, doot. Doot, doot. So you can cut these thinner if you'd like. I prefer my cinnamon rolls thicker, but if you want to have them thinner, you can cut them smaller. Not a problem at all. This is your recipe, remember? All right, so let's get my brush out. And I have our maple syrup. All right, yes, I'm a mess here, but remember, the yummiest food is the messiest food. Okay, what does this egg wash, this quote unquote vegan egg wash do? It just makes it look pretty and it makes it look shiny so people actually want to eat it. Remember, we actually all eat with our eyes, which is kind of strange to think, but we do eat with our eyes. We don't really eat with our mouth. We consume with our mouth, but when you look at something and if it looks ugly, do you think you're going to eat it? Probably not, unless you actually know what it is. So we're going to make these look pretty. before we put them in the oven. All right, so let's go ahead and let these proof for just a half an hour with gluten-free baking. We only need to proof for a half an hour. With gluten baking, you need an hour or so. But yeah, let's go ahead and let these proof, and we'll come back and pop them in the oven together. All right, so here we go. The deproofing is done finally. We're gonna pop these in the oven on 300 Fahrenheit for 35 minutes. Okay. Ooh, that is hot. Oh my goodness. Remember, never, ever, ever keep an oven open because something could crawl in there like a baby or an animal. And always wear hand mitts whenever you take anything out. You don't want to burn your hands. Okay, so while that's in the oven, let's go ahead and make the part that hides the ugly stuff. Okay, let's see, where is my spoon? Ta-da! Okay, so we are using coconut milk and powdered sugar. What is powdered sugar? Does it just come from the powdered sugar plant? No, it doesn't. Powdered sugar, you can actually make it with cornstarch or tapioca flour and sugar. That's basically what it is. So if you don't have powdered sugar at home, just measure out, I don't have the recipe with me on hand right now, but you can measure out cornstarch or tapioca flour, mix it with sugar, and ta-da, you have powdered sugar. Why are we using coconut milk? Coconut milk in particular, remember how I mentioned before, coconut oil and coconut milk, they solidify at 76 degrees. So if you have these at room temperature or in the refrigerator, the glaze will solidify and it won't drip off of the cinnamon bun, and it will solidify and be a little bit crunchy. Yum, yum, yum. Okay, so let's go ahead and mix these together. Ooh, wow, be careful, because whenever anything has tapioca flour, like our batter did, whoop, look at that, whoops, there you go. Yes, tapioca flour explodes. I always tell children whenever I'm cooking with my son, for example, watch out, because if you have the tapioca flour, it will go poof, and you'll have a volcano of flour. And it's not fun to clean up either. Ooh, look how thick that is. Yum, yum, yum. And remember, as humans, we love sugar, even if it's good for us, even if it's not good for us. But we're only adding, this is actually only sugar we're adding on to our cinnamon buns. Remember, the healthy sugar, the applesauce, is the other sugar that we used. All right, well, when they come out of the oven, we'll top these, and then we can dig in and enjoy. Mwah. All right, ready to make our ugly food pretty? Okay, look at that glaze. Yummy, yummy, yummy. I did this while you were watching those fun commercials. I took them out of the oven, I let them cool, because I know that's kind of a boring part, and you always look at the item that you're making thinking, why do I have to wait? Why do I have to make sure it's cool? Well, if you don't make sure it's cool, then it's actually gonna fall apart and it's gonna burn your tongue at the same time. So we always wanna make sure things get cool before we decorate them and before we enjoy them and eat them. Okay, here you go. Look at what you did. These are amazing. They're delicious. It tastes just like cinnamon in the mall, but healthier. Okay, so if you enjoyed this, next time we will actually be making carrot cake cupcakes with vegan frosting. Whoa, frosting can be vegan? Yes, it can be. And it can be really tasty too. Not only can you join me next time for that recipe, but you can also enjoy my baked treats whenever you want. They do need to be kept in the refrigerator, but they're also freezer friendly too. All of my 8 flavor seasonal mini cupcakes, mini donut cakes can be purchased in the Austin area only, but I also ship my cinnamon flavor too. So you can enjoy them anytime you want. and anywhere in the continental 48 United States. You can also purchase my cookbook on my website at eventsbycolette.com. There's just a little link that says cookbook. Barnes & Noble will just ship it right to you, super easy. This cookbook is mainly for kind of beginners when it comes to allergy-friendly food. My blog, which is also available free on my website, is a little bit more intricate and you wanna really try a lot of funky and fun foods that are allergy-friendly. Why should you try my Colette's Mini Donut Cakes? Because people actually love them. They're the quote, healthy treat, vegan, gluten-free, low sugar. Great for a school snack, a party, a wedding, everything. Dessert, snack, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. All right, well, everybody, thank you so much. If you wanna follow me on Instagram, also, I forgot to give you that. It's just events_by_Colette.com. Why am I called Events by Colette? Well, I used to be an event planner and I rebranded everything during COVID because I actually started to become a chef and I never changed the name. I know, maybe I will one day when I actually am not so busy helping you cook in the kitchen. All right, well, thank you for joining me again. Ciao, buenos dias y gracias por acompañarme.